Hi, everybody. I wish I could be there with you guys today, but unfortunately, schedules conflicted to where I had to be actually back at work today during RLN business. But nevertheless, glad to have an opportunity to share with you. Steve is also out of town as well. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over a lesson on customer relations. That's what our topic is for this month. And we're going to talk about a little bit about how Jesus actually showed us how to perform customer relations. Hard to believe that, but it is in the Bible in many ways. And what we're going to do today is kind of look over things from an application standpoint. We're not going to per se go line by line on scriptures, but we'll be able to get a good understanding of from the Bible, teaching us how do we relate to those who we serve. Because really, customer relationships are not so much about people that come through the door, that are served by our business, and then out the door they go and we never see them again. Customer relationships are just about that, a relationship. And one of the things that I like to always remember is the word serve. See every relationship valued eternally. And what that basically means is that somebody who you have the privilege of serving, there's an eternal connection that's applied to them, even if it's a one-time customer, if you will. But you're hoping to build a relationship. And the key to service, and we'll see this in the scriptures we're going to use today, is about completion. It's not just about giving them something, providing them something, but it's doing it to the point of completion. And if we do that, we tend to make raving fans, if you will. And so we're going to go today over Matthew chapter 14 and verses 14. And I'm going to read that. You should have that there with you as a handout. And we're going to go over this real quick. And then you're going to have a discussion in there about this. And hopefully you'll get some good things out of this. And hopefully this format will work for you today. Again, sorry I couldn't be there with you in person, but let's go over the scriptures real quick. It's Matthew 14, and actually it's 14:13 through 16 that we're going to go over as we conduct our lesson for the day. And it reads like this. This is Matthew 14 and 13, and it says, when Jesus heard it, he departed from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the multitudes heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Jesus went out, he saw a great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them and healed their sick. Now, I want to just real quickly give you a little bit of context as to what's going on here. The reason that he left, they said Jesus heard it. What he had heard is that John the Baptist had been beheaded. That happened just before these scriptures came up. And obviously that's a traumatic thing that had happened. But when he tried to go off by himself, other people followed him. And one of the things I like to remember about the way we serve those who we're responsible for, and this is something that's important, and that is that we're responsible for the people who we serve. And that's why the relationship is built. That even though he was at a moment of trauma, if you will, and to the extent that he wanted to go and basically go off by himself, he knew that he still had to serve. Remember, it says here, Jesus, he departed from there by boat to his deserted place by himself. He was going to be by himself, to recharge, if you will, to just get a little bit of an opportunity to get his wits about him, if you will, to pray, I'm sure. And it says here, but when the multitudes heard it. So there was people looking around and seeing him going off by himself. It says they followed him on foot from the cities. And here's this little simple point that I want to put, and this should be on your sheet as well. It says, your service must become so legendary that people seek you out. Isn't that a great form of marketing? When you've been so good at what you do that you don't have to go look for the people come and look for you. Jesus had done so many things. His name had become so legendary for what he had the power to do, that God was with him, and that the kingdom of God was there, and he would exercise it to completion through healing, through the teaching that he did. That even though he was trying to get off by himself after something so traumatic, that the people went looking for him. He didn't have to go look for them. And that's when you know you're giving exemplary service, when you're no longer just sitting there and trying to find people. People are trying to find you. They want to know where you are. And that's how good he was at what he was doing. Even though he was hurting, he still sacrificed. He still understood that, hey, I'm here to serve. And so then he began to serve them as they came. They came by foot from other cities. So his service was legendary. And so customer relationship isn't so much about us providing the service, but it's providing it with such a matter of excellence that no one in their right mind would ever want to be without it. And when we even try to move away or draw away, people look for what we are, where we are, so they can know where we serve. And if you've ever been to places like a good restaurant, for instance, and I like that because it's eating, but imagine that you've had this great restaurant in your area, and every single time you go there, you get the same great, excellent experience. If they were ever to move, you'd probably search them out. You'd probably want to know where they are. You'd probably want to see where they go to. You'd look them up or you'd Google them. You do whatever it is because you want to find. And if you found them, chances are if they're not too far away, you would go and you would find, you'd drive to them. Maybe not by foot like they did, but you drive there and you'd find them because the service was so good. And that's the kind of customer service we have to provide to build great customer relationship. So let's go on to verse 14. And it says, and when Jesus went out, he saw a great multitude. All these people had followed him because they heard he was in town. They heard he was close. So even though he was hurting, they were still coming to him. And he put aside all of the things that he could have been doing. He could have said, hey, you guys need to go away. I'm busy right now. I'm going through some things. I need time alone. But they needed him. And that shows something about our service. It doesn't matter what we're going through. If we've signed up to serve, we've signed up to serve. And it comes to us in such a way where the folks are not understanding what's going on in your life, in your business, in your world, but they still want that excellence of relationship with you. They still want that excellence of experience and that service that you provided. So regardless of all that, he sacrificed. It says, and when Jesus went out, he saw a great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them, and he healed the sick. So let's answer real quick a couple of things I have on here. It says, so how do we create legendary service? Well, I have 4 quick areas here, and this goes based on the scripture. And then we're going to go through Matthew 14, verses 15 through 16. We'll conclude, and then you can have your discussions there. So here's the 4 ways that I have here to serve to completion. And again, completion is what you become legendary about. It's not so much that I just did it. I provided a service. I finished the writing project. I served the meal. I gave whatever my product is. It's that I gave it with excellence to the point where the experience was so good that people couldn't do without it. And it says here, let's look at the first one. It says, number 1, push past your fears and personal concerns to commit to providing excellent service. Remember, I said he had moved off. He'd heard what had happened with his cousin, John the Baptist. Obviously, like I said, a traumatic moment, and Jesus was preparing for the larger ministry that he had. And even the Son of God, he had to move back and kind of recharge, but he moved past the fears because he knew that other people knew about him. And the same thing that they had done to John the Baptist, they could do to him. Knew it wasn't his time, though. But he did know that this is not a time for hiding. This is a time for serving. John had served with excellence. Now he was serving with excellence. And there could be no stoppage, if you will. So push past your fears. And sometimes in our businesses, that fear can be, well, maybe I think my service isn't good enough. Maybe I don't think my product is all that great. Maybe I don't think that I'm all that great. Maybe my skills aren't where I'm. Push past the fear and know that you're providing the best you can. Even if you may not have the best of equipment, the best of things, provide it to completion. And completion is what you'll be legendary about. Number 2, have a sense of compassion for those you serve. This is important. You have to feel the pain of the person. I shouldn't say so much the pain, but the need of the person that has something that you have that they want for you to serve to them. So a lot of times You'll go into a store, for instance, and I hate this when this happens, but you'll go in a store and you'll wait 2, 5, 10 minutes before somebody even comes and really helps you. There's certain places you can go today and you can walk through and there's no one there to even serve you in any kind of way. No one to just say, hey, may I help you? Or are you looking for something? Can I do? And people notice that about your customer relationship with them. And it shows something when you have people that are there um, and that have a sense of compassion for you. They see that you're looking for something and you can't find it. And this is really good in as far as in our businesses, because we need to be attuned to the customer base of who we're serving. If we know that there's a need and it's not being served, that's a great opportunity for us to begin to get the skills we need, the information we need, do the surveying we need, do whatever it is we need so that we can now serve that population with what's missing. Because a lot of times people will not know what they're doing. They don't know what they need to serve. They're serving a specific thing, but it's sort of bland. There's no targeting of it. And so people are looking for something that is targeted towards them, that's based on what their needs and their problems are. And whoever provides that, that's where the people will go. Number 3, find out what they need and perfect it to the point of zero flaws. Again, this is about making sure that there are no problems with what you're serving. Jesus saw the people there. He saw what they were going through, and he served them with excellence. The excellence, again, or eternal, as I mentioned before, see every relationship valued eternally. He had a sense of excellence about the way he would heal. It would be healing them all, healing them to completion, not giving, if somebody had no sight, he wouldn't give them half a sight. He would heal them to the point where they could see. And when we're doing what we do and we're serving in the way we serve, we do it to completion. This is how you get a good reputation. That one right there is what gives you the good reputation. No flaws. If you've ever, we've been on things like a Disney cruise, my wife and I and our kids. And when we go there, the people serve you to completion. There's nothing missing about that experience when you're done with it. And they become legendary. And you know you're legendary when the person you serve goes back and tells everybody else how you serve them. Remember the woman at the well? She said to the people in her town, she went back and said, come see a man who told me everything about me. And that began to draw people in. He completed what she needed. And she went out and told people. She became a marketer for him in many ways. And so that's what we're looking. We want to serve with zero flaws so that people will come back and tell other folks about what we've done. Then it says, serve everyone to the point of completion. We kind of went over that just a second ago. But again, that's about making sure when people have experienced what you have to give, there's nothing left. I'm going to skip down here right where something in bold here that I put down that said, never send your customers away with a need unfulfilled. Why? Because you get the reputation of not serving to completion. You get the reputation of having flaws with what you serve. You get the reputation of not being compassionate about what was needed. And people begin to talk. And you can tell that people talk with their pocketbooks. If they're not buying, there's a reason. And we have to ask the reason why. Usually it falls somewhere in that 4 of these things. But the important thing, like I said, never send the customer away with an unfulfilled need. Why? Because they'll go find somebody that will fill that need. Let's go through Matthew 14, 15, and 16, and we'll be done. It says, when it was evening, his disciples came to him saying, this is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the village and buy food for themselves. Now, this is referring to the feeding of the 5,000. Again, it has its own lesson that we would be going over with this, but for the purpose of what we're talking about today, this shows right here exactly what I'm talking about. The disciples were about to make a big mistake. They were about to send the people away unfulfilled. And that would have probably caused a bad reputation for what Jesus was trying to do with his ministry. What tends to happen from this would have been, well, you know what? We went out there, we heard him teach, but they left us out there, and after a while we were hungry and we left, and the reputation starts to go bad. And so to complete what God was doing, to show the miracle, to show who he really was, he said, no, don't go anywhere. We will feed them. Verse 16 says, but Jesus said to them, they do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. Simply put, good customer relationship starts with that. Don't send them away. We'll give them what they need. Even if we don't even have it, we'll find a way to get it. And it's that relationship. When that relationship is built between you and your customers, there is an established relationship. And what's that relationship? It's a reputation. All a relationship really is how somebody views you. What's their perception of you? What's your perception of them? And based on those two things, you build relationships. So if they have great respect for you, a great understanding of who you are, a great understanding of your product, and they feel that it has compassionately served their need, that is the basis of a long-term customer relationship. If you're in a business where you sign contracts or you have contracts, this is important as well because you're looking at a lot of dollars and you're looking at the possibility of a long-term relationship past one contract. And so you want to build that sense of, you know what, the person who I'm and my client, they have a need. I might can't fill it right away, but I'm going to find a way. And that's a person that can be depended on. That's a customer, if you will, that's going to be appreciative of what you've done. And sooner or later, that reputation and that relationship, or I should say that relationship that built that reputation, is going to help them in everything they do, and therefore they're going to help you in everything you want to do. Very important in the way that we serve. And I just wanted to complete this with this quote that is here. I actually got this quote a long time ago. Stayed with me pretty much all of my life. It's from the late Dr. Robert Schuller, and it says, the definition of success is to find a hurt and heal it, find a problem and solve it, and find an obstacle and remove it, bridge it, or turn it into an opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the definition of good customer service. It's finding hurts and healing it. It's finding those problems that are out there and making yourself responsible for solving them. You want to be the answer to somebody's problem. Or they have an obstacle, something that's in their way. And you find these things and you say, well, let's remove it, let's bridge it, or let's turn it into an opportunity for them, not so much for you. I'm sure as Jesus was serving, that wasn't so much an opportunity for him to be famous, but it was an opportunity for them to see the love that God has through him for them. And that's what made him famous. That's what made people walk to go see him. That's what made him, even though he was tired, even though he was dealing with the loss of his cousin, John the Baptist. We oftentimes forget the human side of who Jesus was. But even though he might have been tired or whatever the case may be, recharging, he put that aside to serve. Why? Because you could see every relationship valued eternally. And that's what built legendary customer relationship, legendary customer service, and began to fulfill his purpose, his ministry here on earth. And if we'll do that same thing, if we'll take that same mindset with our businesses, with our family, with whatever it is, that whoever it is you're serving, you too will build a legendary customer relationship, customer service. So I hope this has helped in some ways. Please enjoy the rest of the time. Again, I'm sorry that I could not be there with you today. Wish that I could. Hopefully I'll be there the following month. A lot going on right now. But looking forward to the opportunity of talking with you. And please, if you have any questions, feel free when you see me to ask, or you can just send them to me at davongray72@gmail.com. God bless and look forward to seeing you again soon.